Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. Yesterday, I was having issues with my upper right turn, and I don't know why, now that I'm looking at it today. I guess I saw something that I just don't see anymore. I think yesterday I went on a long tangent about what I do when I get in a situation where I feel a little bit stuck, and sometimes just taking a break, doing something else if possible, and then revisiting it with fresh eyes is a good way to go. And I am definitely feeling that right now, because I'm not even sure what I was so bothered about. I must have just gotten really tunnel visioned on something. And that is something that happens a lot. And that is the power of revisiting things with a fresh look. Because now I'm kind of able to zoom my mind out a little bit and all that good stuff. Hello there, Yedgy Kitty. Back to hair. Still hair forever. So you're here early today. Normally you don't get here for a little while longer. No, not really. She's really looking forward to it, so it's making me kind of look forward to it too. She hasn't actually started yet, because, I mean, she's still very little. They both are. But yeah, she's been looking forward to it for a long time, so it's making me kind of excited too. Her enthusiasm is infectious. Have you been having a rough time with school? I see. Well, to be fair, it sounds like, based on what you said, I forget exactly when, that school is much farther away from you, or from where you live, compared to where my kids are gonna go. Like, I plan to walk them to school every day, because it's just down the street. So, that probably helps me too. Does remind me that I should probably get around to actually enrolling my daughter in school at some point. Maybe I'll do it after I do my taxes or something. Yeah, it's always rough when your parents don't trust you. It's like I don't know your parents, so I can't really speak into it. But it sounds like they expect a lot out of you. Understandable. I don't know how old you are, but I suspect that you'll probably be living with them for a while longer. So if you're able to manage it, try to work things out with them rather than just being mad. I think it'll work out better for both of you in the long run. They may or may not listen, but you can try. But making peace will be better than making war here. Ah, I see. So yeah, you still got a while before you'll be able to move out and kind of make your own life, so... Unfortunately, that means to an extent you gotta work with them. So, do your best, friend. Yeah, now that I look at all this again, indeed, I am not quite sure what I was so stuck on yesterday. But man, there was something that I was seriously not understanding. And now everything just seems mostly fine. Like I was saying at the start of the stream, this is exactly why sometimes it's good to just step away from something for a while, not look at it, and come back when your brain has a chance to kind of refresh itself and look at it with fresh eyes. Everything seems fine, and yet yesterday my brain thought that there was something terrible going on here. I still just don't understand what it was seeing at all. Alright. So now I guess I can just kind of come in and start finishing up this area in the upper right. And then I can feel a little bit more comfortable doing all the other things that I wanted to do on the right turns. I will have to probably propagate some changes down on to the top and to the right. But after that... Well, I'm glad that it's all working out here, though. I was a little bit worried yesterday when I just couldn't get it to look right. That always is a little bit concerning. Just nothing going quite right. But yeah, like I said, I'm not quite sure what I saw. I think it's okay. There's definitely some squirming and some other layers that I'll have to fix at some point, but I'll do it later. I want to focus on these parts that add some amount of 3D-ness to the hair. And the stuff around it too, I guess, just because my brain sees it and decides it's gonna be fixed. Welcome back. Someday I will find out where this vortex is supposed to go. I swear, every time I move it, I'm never satisfied with the new location. It's okay. I will find his home someday. Yeah, it's nice to have some peace and quiet sometimes. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good now. Is it? Every time I say that, I always seem to find something that I'm not quite sure about. Maybe I should say it more often. It'll help me find all the mistakes. Let's see here. There is definitely something that I see. But I don't quite know what it is yet. So I'm just gonna stare at it very intensely until I can kind of get a better understanding of what I'm missing here. Maybe it's the highlight. Is the highlight going a little bit too far up? Yeah, a little bit. I will try lowering it just a little here. And right around here too. So right now I'm mostly checking the diagonal, because that's where I was noticing the most issues with the hair there. But since I'm a little bit stuck in finding something that looks a little bit off, but I'm not quite sure what, I am also checking the other angles nearby and seeing if I'm getting any weird squirming in those areas too. And I am getting a little bit here. So maybe it is indeed related to the location of this highlight here. I'll try it out. Move some stuff around and see what happens. As long as I don't give up, I'll find the answer eventually. Okay, yeah, I think that's actually looking pretty good. Let's go check it against the other angles. See if there's stuff I need to fix in some other places too. Do I need to floof this out, or do I need to reduce the floof on the right turn? That is the question right now, because over here isn't aligning quite the way that I want it to. So I'll see if I can get away with making this a little bit puffier here. And if I cannot, then I'll have to make the right turn a little bit less floofy. And that's just always a little bit sad. So this is just a matter of seeing what I can get away with. This seems okay. Okay, still needs a little bit more, but the fact that it seems okay bodes well. So maybe I won't have to make the right turn less floofy. Ah, that'd be wonderful news. So I do think it's always a little bit sad when I have to make the hair just a little bit less fluffy, because it's not quite aligning the way that I want it to. But if I can keep it that way, that would be fantastic. Okay. Here, I think I'm kind of approaching the limit of how much floofiness this part of the hair can handle. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. So let's see if it's lining up here now. Indeed, I think that looks fine. Okay. So now I was noticing something just a little bit there. I need to round out the darkest area right through here just a little bit more. It's a little bit flat. That might also be something that I was noticing. When everything seemed just a little bit off. Okay, and I want to take a closer look at something. So we're going to make a bald spot here so I can see the edge of the hair just a little bit more clearly. Yeah, okay. I was indeed seeing something over there. Because especially with this area, it can be a little bit hard to tell which layer something I'm potentially seeing is on. So in that case, it can be nice just to hide them a little. Oh man, I was really crooked on the mesh here, wasn't I? No, not really. A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it was pretty crooked right there. Okay. More things to keep in mind for the future. I think when it comes down to it is I really should learn how to get good with the auto mesh. Because the auto mesh will be able to make the vertices a little bit more equidistant from each other, and I won't have to worry about little areas where I just stick this one so much further in from the edge of the texture compared to some of the other ones. And this one's actually much closer to the edge than a lot of these other ones. So sometimes I can make working with it a little bit finicky. So I think that will be one of my missions for my next model, of just figure out how to auto mesh. I think it'll make my life much easier. Okay, this seems alright. I think I can be happy with this. At least on the edge there. So I'll go ahead and turn her hair back on and try to correct the last few things that I see. I'm actually going to consult the mesh for this part, because there's just something weird going on right there, and I want it to line up just a little bit better here. Okay, easy enough to understand. Pull this down, and all will be well. Much like the past couple of days, I'm going in on all the details, trying to fix as many things as I can see, and try to get it just right. I'm hoping that this will be like one of the final passes. I mean, when I work on something, I always sit on it for a day, and then go take one more look at it at the very end and do some light corrections there. So I imagine I will do something like that here too. But other than that, just hopefully minor corrections only pass. I'm hoping that this will be the last one. So I'm trying to get everything just the way I want it. And now I think this is looking pretty good. Okay, so there I was taking a look at a bunch of different angles, because the changes that I had to make to the very, very top of the side bang there, just right here, and those highlights and the little shadow next to it, don't actually line up with the top turn here. The changes I made to the highlight don't either, so I think I will have to adjust those all the way, and I was seeing which area I liked best. So did I need to adjust the upper right to better conform to what's going on the top turn? Or did I want to adjust the top turn to look better with the upper right? And I determined that I think I want the top turn to look better with the upper right. So I will be moving some stuff around. It's funny, what made me notice the incongruency was actually stuff up here. But here I am adjusting the highlights. It's fine, the highlights needed to be adjusted too. I just always think it's funny that sometimes what makes me notice things is not actually the thing that I end up adjusting first. And in this case, I think I can actually get away with doing a little bit of adjusting on both of the turns. Raise the highlight just a little bit over here, and lower it just a little bit over there. I think that should keep things looking good on every turn. Sometimes it's all about compromise, you know? Maybe everybody is secretly just a little bit wrong. Yeah, this seems fine. Okay, let's line up the very top now. I'm gonna consult the mesh for that, because that actually looks a little bit tricky. What I'm looking at right now is there's like this line, lighter pink, that comes up and goes over here and connects to the other side of her hair. And it's in a very different spot on the upper right. So I need to kind of figure out how it's moving so I can better align it. Okay. Just let this dark area point the way. Just treat it like this is an arrow. That tends to be how I look at it. I think I can afford to stay fairly zoomed in for this one. Okay. And now I fluff out the top just a little bit here. Not too much. I don't want it to be super fluffy. I just want it to come out a little bit more and kind of keep that pointier shape. I just had it a little bit too flat. Yeah, there we go. I think that's good. And then just adjust some of the areas around it. Kind of compensate for the new angle. Yeah, okay. It's all coming together, and I think all is well. Just gotta find the right angle for everything over here now, and at that point, I think everything should be good. I'll just need to put it on the upper left, too. But the good news is, once I have this the way that I want, then I can go back and doing all my work on the front bang that I started yesterday, when I was stuck. Well, hello there again, Vivi. I'd say it's nice when things work out, but I'm not actually sure if it's a good thing here. I hope you're able to get some sleep. Regardless, it's nice to see you again. I'm going through, doing some extreme detail passes, but having a good time with them. They are always a bit slow, but I think it's really brought out some good stuff in her hair. I think it's looking very three-dimensional now. Just kind of need to get the last details in place and then clean it all up. Very exciting. Okay, yeah, I think these are lining up fine. Let me just do a little bit more double checking everywhere, but no, I think it's all good. Yeah, and then over here. Don't feel like I need to fix as much over here, but there are a few areas just because I changed the top so much here. Oh no. Yeah, that feeling is always pretty bad. Insomnia is the worst. It's really hard when you struggle with such things. Man, I keep bumping my microphone here. I don't know. I've been experimenting with new spots for the microphone, as well as moving some things around so I don't bump it quite as much when I'm not streaming. So I guess I still have some things to work out there. My husband and I had kind of an interesting discussion about difficulty in games recently, and yeah, I was reminded of a perspective that I heard a while ago in a discussion about Dark Souls, actually, and a lot of FromSoft games, and that they hoped that they never added difficulty modulation to it, so like no easy mode. Just because they wanted to, for community purposes, more or less, and that they wanted everybody that beat it to have the same kind of shared experience of just everybody that managed to beat this particular boss experienced this kind of thing. And that's not really possible with difficulty modulation. Or at the very least, it's not quite the same. And I think that's kind of an interesting way to look at things. I've always found a lot of the discussions around game difficulty and whether or not there should be variable game difficulty to be getting a little bit into the pretentious realm sometimes, in that people are trying to tell developers what they should and shouldn't do, and I think what it comes down to is developers should just make what they want and people can play the game or not play the game. It just, people often talk about game difficulty in the same breath as accessibility and whatnot, and these are not the same. And I think it's fine for not all people to be able to play certain games because they personally find it too hard and it's not enjoyable for them. Then yes, not playing the game is absolutely the correct move. As opposed to, you know, calling the developers bad people because they didn't make their game accessible or something. Accessible by their definition, not like actual accessibility standards. So yeah, I found just the idea that by not making a bunch of things customizable, you're standardizing the experience a little bit more, and so when people talk about it, they have a better idea of what the other person experienced as well. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way to look at it. And he went off on a somewhat similar tangent of... Let's see, it came up in a discussion about Factorio Space Age, so the expansion to Factorio, and how there's a... Let me actually back up there, and how in the community there's less people discussing megabases and how much they're producing and whatnot in Space Age compared to vanilla Factorio. And when we talked about it a little bit, we think it's related to the fact that in Space Age, there's a science productivity tech. Or a research productivity tech. And within the context of Factorio, what productivity does is it basically means when you put in one resource, you get more than you would expect out. So if making an iron plate requires 1 iron ore, if you have productivity in the thing, you might get 1.5 iron plates instead for that 1 iron ore. And what this ultimately means is that when you have research productivity, you can no longer use research as the gauge for how much your factory is producing. In Vanilla Factorio, that was typically the standard that people used to research or to gauge the productivity of their base, of just how much science per minute are you getting. And that's not really possible in Space Age because of that tech. How much science per minute that you're getting isn't necessarily a result of how productive your factory is. It's potentially also a result of how long you've left the game running. And that is a little bit less interesting. So I'm wondering if the existence of that tech is why there's been less discussion of mega bases and just making absolutely massive factories to make a bunch of science. Or just a bunch of stuff in general. So that was kind of an interesting design thought too. I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this information. But it was interesting to think about. The way my husband put it is that basically grinding is uninteresting, and that the success of something being done in a game shouldn't be based on how long you spent on it, as opposed to other ways to engage with it, like how efficient you've been, or that kind of thing, of just being able to just sit there and go forever and outlast everyone else is kind of not an interesting way to play a game. And I can agree with that. I always have lots of very interesting discussions about games with him. It makes me happy. Alright. And with that tangent, I believe I have corrected this area of the hair on all angles, so yay! Victory spin. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the front bank here. Gonna check what I did yesterday and make sure I still like it. Mostly, yes. I think I can just make this top strand a little bit smoother. Okay, but I think everything else is looking pretty good there. I'd definitely went in pretty hard, so I'm glad to see that it's all still looking pretty good. Alright. Let's check. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do left and right together now. Because I can. I no longer have to fear the right side because I was worried about a problem with the upper right causing me to lose a bunch of work. So now I can actually go in and make sure that the right turn is just the way I want it for this one area that I'm checking right now. I get the feeling that some stuff here is gonna have to change once I start working on the upper right as well. And the lower right, I suppose. But for now, I think this actually looks okay, so I will leave it there. At least this highlight here. I'm also going to be checking the shadow area and the very edge here. But I think the highlight is fine to leave there. I think it looks okay. Might just smooth it out a little bit in a couple of places, but overall I think it's okay. So now I want to check the very edge of the bank here on where it connects into the tunnel over here. And I guess to an extent, making sure everything is smooth. Honestly, related to the last tangent I went off of, just thinking about games in terms of the communities that pop up around them, I think is also kind of interesting. Like, I am old enough that I remember a world without the internet. And so thinking about games in terms of the people that play them was not really something that I did growing up. But now the amount of stuff that you can do with game communities is really cool. Like, I mean, my husband and I have been playing Factorio. We finished our run recently, so I'm sure it'll come out of my brain eventually, but it's been what I'm thinking about now because, well, I mean, it's what I was playing. And there is quite a large community around that, and quite a large modding community around that. Because the game is open source, if I recall. So, makes it very easy to mod. And I just think that is indeed a very interesting way to look at games there. Of just not just what is the experience like within the game, but what is the community itself like, and what gets encouraged within it and discouraged within it, and what do they like to do? And how can you design games with communities in mind? That last one is actually something that I've done quite a lot, because when I was very tiny, I really, really liked MMOs. I played so many free-to-play MMOs, man. If there's an early 2000s MMO out there, I've probably played it. I didn't play like the super old ones like Ultima or EverQuest, or even World of Warcraft for that matter, because I don't like subscription stuff. And with me being like 14, I couldn't afford those kinds of games. The free ones were very nice for a very small teenager. I didn't have to worry about a budget. I just got to go in and play, and it was a good time. And due to that, I've been, especially recently, thinking about social mechanics in games and just how people utterly fail at them and how they can be done better. I don't have anything super concrete yet, but it has been a curiosity of mine. So I've been researching things like how people socialize and that kind of thing, and seeing what you can do with game mechanics for them. Because a lot of modern games, even MMOs really, A lot of it feels like it comes outside the game. I'm also just thinking of Infinity Nikki, where half the game is taking pictures, and yet there's not a lot of interesting things that you can do with them or other people inside the game. I think there's some missed opportunities there. And with social gaming in general. Because, well, social gaming isn't really very social. Not really. I think that's kind of a shame, so that's why it's been kind of a curiosity of mine. Seeing if I can design such a game. But I've got too many irons in the fire right now, too many creative things I want to do, and not enough time to do it all, so it's stalled a little bit. The idea. And it's fine. Occasionally an idea will come to me and I'll write it down, and maybe eventually I'll have a document that I can actually turn into something. Sometimes it's all about just moving in the right direction. Speaking of other stuff that I've been working on, I am almost done with the new header image for the channel, and I'm very excited because it's very pretty. Unfortunately, I completely forgot just how long it takes me to draw the, like, little cloud parts of my character design here. Like, you can see the big sleeve on my shoulder here, yeah. The things that look like clouds in this particular style that I'm going for. And I'm just like... I only have a big ring of clouds going around the edge of the dress, and oh my god, it's gonna take so long to clean all that up. It's gonna take so long, man. But it looks fantastic. I love the way it looks. I just wish it didn't take so long. Truly suffering for my art here. But it's worth it. I love it. It's so good. Probably the only reason I'll be able to finish it, despite some of the pain that's going in there. So we'll see how long that takes me. Part of me keeps wanting to put time frames on things, but my estimates have been so bad that I'm just not. It'll be done when it's done. Alright, front bank looking fantastic there. Now I just need to check this shadow and the edge over here. I'm not gonna worry too much about this guy yet. I'll get to that a little bit later. I want to do stuff over here first. Alright, so now the things that I'm looking at most here are the very top of this part before it transitions into this part, kind of in the back, more in the background. So the very top of the bang here, the curve on the shadow, and then also the location of this highlight. There's a little tiny highlight right here. It gets a little bit darker through here, kind of underneath where the strand is. So I'd say that for this part that I'm looking on now that I have the highlights kind of where I want them, those are the big spots. That's where I'm looking right now. Right now I'm mostly focused on getting their positions correct, and then once I am happy with like where they're located, I'm gonna worry about the thickness of this little shadow right through there, because I can tell that it's a little bit too thin in some areas. But first, I want to get everything into the right place. I just don't feel like it's quite there yet. Alright, now that I actually do think that things are roughly in the right place here, I'm gonna start straightening things out and worrying about the thickness of some of these lines. The way I have the vertices set up here makes it so it's very, very easy to control the thickness of the lines. I just make the vertices move a little bit further apart from each other. And ta-da, I got a thicker line. Nice and easy. Okay, so I think I made right up here a little bit too round. I always forget just how straight the lines that this artist uses a lot are. Like right here, very, very straight. And here I made it a little bit too curved. So let's straighten that out just a little bit there. That should make it look a little better. And I get right here nice and straight. Yeah, and I think I need to do the same for the little dark line underneath there too. I think it is also curving a little bit too much. Habits. Where I just want to make the curls in the hair nice and soft and flowy, but a lot of the time they're actually quite straight. This one doesn't start curving until like right around here, where it has a nice gentle slope to it. Up here it's very straight. Easy mistake to make, I think. I think I even wanted to go a little bit more to the right. Okay. I thought I had it in a good spot, but not quite. Now that I look at it again, let's send it a little bit further this way. Yeah, once I smooth that out, that should look pretty good. Alright, I think this is a pretty good spot. It just needs to be tamed a bit, but I am happy with this location. So I'm just going to continue having your head go back and forth. Continue to check things and make sure that all these little details are just the way I want them to be. I think it's going quite well. With these areas that I've been poking at, both the most detailed parts of her hair and the parts that I want to be the most accurate, I think things are going pretty well. I think it all looks pretty good. Alright, there we go. Got just a couple of little spots that need adjustment, but I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go and check my downward turn, and then we'll see if I have enough energy to go poke at the upward turn a little bit too. I don't know how much correction is gonna be needed in those, but it would be nice if I could get it today. Then tomorrow I could just dive right back into the corners. But yes, really looking forward to kind of tackling this area. This whole little area. Even just the bits that I've done already just add so much 3Dness to her hair, and it makes me happy. It really does. I just love all these little things that can make it look like her head is turning instead of just move it around. Instead of having that kind of paper-thin quality. Make it look like there's an actual sphere on her face there. On her head. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. Let's look down here. Yeah, I didn't see much I needed to fix down there last time, so good to see that things are still looking pretty good here. Alright, let's check the upward turn. It's like I didn't get to it yesterday because I was concerned about the upper right, but honestly, looking at it now, I don't think there's very much I want to change about it. We'll see if I feel the same way tomorrow, of course, but I honestly think it's looking pretty good. Just got a couple of spots I want to make a little bit thicker. Oh, that's good to see. Because I did work quite hard on the front bangs in a lot of my earlier passes because I thought that they were just such an important area and I didn't want to skimp out the details there. So I'm glad to see that it all paid off and things are still looking pretty good. Even with all the changes I've been wanting to make. But I really do feel like the end is in sight. More and more things are just, I look at it and I don't want to change anything. It's a good feeling. Once again here, I'm just making this line a little bit more straight. Following that mistake that I seem to make every time. That's okay. I can fix it now. And I actually kind of like... There's this little part that comes up before it becomes straight. And on this upward turn, I'm making that a little bit flatter. And I actually kind of like the way that looks. I think it makes it look a little bit more like we're seeing it from below. So I'm going to keep it like that. I'm just going to move things over just a little bit, but I want to keep that overall shape. I think it looks good. I like being able to make tiny little changes like that in various places in order to really sell the turning quality of the head. Make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So I think I will call that good. I'm happy with both the upward and the downward turn. So tomorrow I'll dig into the corners and get everything right there. Although honestly, the corners, aside from maybe the upper right here, don't look too bad. So I guess tomorrow we'll see what happens with those. But for today, this is where I will stop. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I'll see you all tomorrow.